All right, we're covering some great ground. Let's now take a look at web development frameworks. We'll be talking about front-end and back-end frameworks and full-stack configurations. Put in your dancing shoes. Let's get the party started. So, what is a framework? Frameworks provide a structured foundation for developers to build, maintain, and scale software more efficiently. Let's say I want to open a burger restaurant called Dan's Burgers. I'll need to think about designing and building everything: the seating area, or front end, the kitchen, or back end, and the food storage, the database. Now, going at it alone has many negatives. I would need to source everything myself. I do not have any kind of support network I can plug into. As I have a single restaurant, I have no purchasing power for equipment or food products. And probably the hardest part is that I have no established brand and need to advertise myself. Let's compare this to opening a McDonald's franchise. First up, everything is supplied, from the kitchen equipment to the food products. There is also a large centralized support network I can plug into for support. McDonald's also has huge purchasing power, so I can always get the lowest priced goods. And McDonald's has a very well-established brand, so all advertising is essentially done for me. Becoming a franchisee is a lot simpler than doing it yourself, and the same is true of web development, where using a framework makes everything a lot easier. This is a good analogy, but it does overlook some benefits of starting your own burger joint, such as creative control of the menu and establishing your own brand identity, and avoiding any royalties, which are important factors in deciding between opening an independent restaurant or becoming a franchisee. However, on the web, it is not like this. You will always choose to use a framework. And the best part is, there is no cost to it. The frameworks are open source, meaning they are free to use. So in a nutshell, all developers are glorified fast food restaurant owners, paying no royalties. We'll first look at front-end frameworks. All front-end frameworks are JavaScript-based and integrate with HTML and CSS. The reason they are all JavaScript-based is that it is the only programming language that works in the browser. So JavaScript is the base programming language. Built on top of JavaScript are popular frameworks like React, which is built and managed by the team at Facebook. React is technically something called a library, which is slightly different to a framework. But at this point, don't worry about that difference. There is also Angular, which is built and managed by the team at Google. And more recent on the scene is Vue, built and managed by a smart dude called Evan You, who actually worked at Google with Angular and saw room for improvements. These frameworks are a toolkit extending JavaScript's capabilities. Each framework has their own architecture and design philosophy. When we code a frontend, we are using specific syntax provided by the framework, but we are also still working with HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So the frameworks all integrate with these foundational technologies. I want to look at an analogy of this, and this one took me 3 days to come up with, so please show me some love or hate in the comments. We're talking about Lego. The Lego block is a foundational component of all Lego creations. As you know, you can buy different Lego sets, like the pyramids, or the Statue of Liberty, and the Taj Mahal. They are like a front-end framework, a pre-existing toolkit of parts and instructions to build something great. These sets are all built from Lego blocks, and each set has their own architecture and design. My kids have a tub of Lego, so whenever I buy them a new set, they will inevitably add to the set other Lego pieces, like a Lego man, or a large Lego base, or even more Lego blocks. So a Lego set integrates with other foundational pieces, including the Lego block itself, from which the Lego sets are made from. Moving on to backend frameworks. Server-side languages each have their own frameworks built in their own languages. So Node.js, which is JavaScript, has popular frameworks including Koa and Express. Python's popular frameworks include Flask and Django. PHP's popular frameworks include Symfony and Laravel. And Ruby's popular frameworks include Sinatra and Rails. Similar to the front end, these frameworks are a toolkit extending each language's capabilities and are built on top of each foundational language. They also each have their own architecture and design philosophy. Let's consider an analogy with natural languages. Take English as a foundational language. Variants like Australian English and American English each introduce their own unique rules and styles in a similar way to how a framework extends a base programming language. I've lived in the UK for a while now, and having grown up in Australia, I still think the Australian version of English is the funniest. Like, check this dude out on national TV, talking about his wild chase through the street in his underwear after a guy crashed into the shop next door to where he lives.
Hero, mate. And I said, I'm not trying to be a hero, but the police are coming. And he just decided he'd scoot up the road, and I just said, nah, it's not going on like that, mate. So I jumped in my car, and I started chasing him up the road, and then he went down a side street, and then the police were coming, and I flashed them and sent them off in the direction of him. But, mate, all I had was me jocks on. I was chasing him up the street, and I'm just like, mate.
Anyway, if you want to watch the full video, I've posted a link in the description below. This concept applies across other languages. For instance, there are substantial differences between Spanish, spoken in Spain and Argentina, between French, spoken in France and some regions of Canada, and Portuguese, in Portugal and Brazil. They all showcase unique extensions of the language's basic rules, where each have their own dialect and slang. Now that we've had a look at front-end and back-end frameworks, let's discuss tech stacks. When full-stack developers decide on a stack, they can use any combination of front-end, back-end, and database technologies. A popular tech stack would look something like this. There would be React on the front end, Express on the back end, and for a JavaScript framework, it is common to reference Node.js as part of the back end, for reasons we will talk about later, and a MongoDB database. This is more commonly known as the MERN Stack. It has a specific name associated with it because of its popularity. MERN is an acronym for the first letter of M in MongoDB, E in Express, R in React, and N in Node.js. It's ordered this way just so we can get a nice sounding word. Now, developers do have complete freedom to choose whatever technology for each part of the stack. For example, you could have a React frontend, a Laravel backend, which is PHP based, and a PostgreSQL database. This mix and match of technologies does not have a distinct recognizable name, but would be referred to as React Laravel PostgreSQL stack. It is informal. While developers can mix and match technologies, they will often strategically pair frameworks and databases with complementary features to have a smoother development process. In our bootcamp, we'll be focusing on the MERN Stack. So, why the MERN Stack? It's because the MERN Stack has JavaScript at all levels, and focusing on JavaScript, we can grasp universal programming principles without the need to learn extensive syntax from multiple languages. On the front end, we will be learning HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. There is no way around learning these. They are critical technologies for front-end development. On the back end, we will be learning the programming language Node.js. And for the database, we will be learning MongoDB, where the queries we write will be similar to how we write JavaScript. For the frameworks, on the front end, we'll be learning React, which is JavaScript based. And on the back end, we will be learning Express, which is also JavaScript based. This means we can learn a single core programming language, JavaScript, which will allow us to more smoothly learn frameworks. It's my opinion that at the beginning of your web development journey, it's more important to get comfortable with a single language and focus on principles as opposed to getting lost in syntax of multiple languages. Besides my pedagogical reasons to learn the MERN Stack, we'll finish up by looking at other good reasons to take this approach. These technologies and frameworks are popular. They are used on major projects and there is a huge community of support for them. Stack Overflow, which is the world's most popular developer community, creates these yearly surveys, aggregating data from developers across a whole range of topics. This is the 2023 Developer Survey, and I've posted a link in the description below. I'm going to head over to Technology, and we'll start by looking at the most popular technologies. You can see that for all respondents, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS are at the top. And if I head over to Learning to Code, they're also at the top. Scrolling down to databases, MongoDB is ranked 4th. But if I go to Learning to Code, it is the second most popular database technology. Scrolling down to web development frameworks, at the top of the chart is Node.js, followed by React, and in 4th place is Express. Just for context, jQuery is a front-end library that is a bit older and used in older projects, and is quickly becoming replaced with more modern libraries and frameworks like React. Going to the Learning to Code tab, you can see that Node.js, React, and Express are the top 3, which is a reflection of them becoming more popular. Let's finish off the Introduction to Web Development summary card. I'm going to scoot languages a bit to the left and add in what we discussed in this video, frameworks. I'm going to be adding the frameworks for the stack. On the front end, we can use any JavaScript-based framework like React. And on the back end, a framework depends on the core language being used, like Express for Node.js. Don't forget, you can download all the summary cards and presentation slides from the Bootcamp in the link in the description below. Enjoying these videos and interested to learn more about my complete full stack web development bootcamp? Then head to futurefullstack.com to learn more. Please also subscribe by clicking here and click here to move on to the next video in the playlist.